Alright, so picture this. It's a Tuesday morning, skies so blue it's almost mocking. And I'm standing there in my bathrobe watching a yellow caterpillar excavator, one of those huge beasts you see in highway construction, about to chew up the last 18 months of my life. And not just my hard work, but the actual dirt where I scattered my wife's ashes. Yeah, that's how my week started. And you know what? It was all because of Patricia Vance, Queen of Oak Ridge Heights, president of the HOA, and the kind of woman who could make a tax auditor sweat. Let me back up a sec. The question that started it all, ma'am, who exactly gave your association permission to build that shiny community center on Mr. Thorne's property? Came from Deputy Sheriff Higgins. Higgins is the type who talks real quiet, so you lean in to hear him, and when you do, you realize he's about to drop a hammer. No yelling, just this gravelly rumble, like someone slowly dragging a cinder block across asphalt. When he asked that, Patricia went pale, fish belly pale, the kind that says you just realized you stepped on a landmine. Right behind her, that big caterpillar froze, bucket dripping hydraulic fluid onto my ruined grapevines. The silence, man, I still hear it some nights. All you could smell was diesel, broken dreams, and a little bit of grape must, like heartbreak, if it had a taste. And see, the real kicker? Those grapes? That soil. That was Sarah's resting place. My wife. My North Star. Everything Patricia just bulldozed over. Well, that was her. And the only lesson Patricia wanted to teach me was know your place. But in trying to squash a bug, she handed me a golden ticket, a lawsuit that would tear down her whole suburban empire. Turns out, you build your castle on the wrong dirt, and sooner or later, the moat fills with something nastier than water. My name's Elias Thorne. I wasn't always a guy you'd find on a 3-acre plot outside Austin, Texas. For 20 years, I was Army Corps of Engineers, sometimes blowing stuff up, sometimes putting it back together. Usually someplace with no cell service and plenty of reasons to not send postcards home. Then Sarah got sick. Ovarian cancer is a thief. Takes everything, leaves you with nothing but echoes and bills. After she passed, our house felt like a mausoleum. Couldn't breathe in it. So I bought a weird little slice of land, 3 acres shaped like a crooked L nobody else wanted, right on the edge of Oak Ridge Heights. This planned community where every blade of grass is the same height and every smile has a price. Sarah used to talk about hill country, about sunsets and vines, so I thought, hell, why not build that dream for her? Even if she's not around to see it. Planted Tempranillo and Viognier, the good stuff, and I worked that land like I was still in uniform. Scattered her ashes between the rows. Every cluster was a kind of prayer, you know? Enter Patricia. Now, if you've never met a real HOA president, one with a real estate license and a God complex, imagine a shark in a floral blouse who writes citations. Instead of eating people. Biggest house on the hill, Mercedes G-Wagon, clipboard welded to her hand, and this uncanny ability to sniff out undesirable elements. Her power wasn't the rules, it was the fear. She'd chase off old ladies with garden frogs, find parents for their kids' laughter, and buy up properties cheap when she'd run the owners off. The neighborhood lived in terror of her binder. You know the type. One morning, I get a letter, an agricultural use violation. Says I'm running a commercial farm. $750 fine per day. Cease and desist, or they'll bulldoze it and charge me for the pleasure. Now, keep in mind, I never sold a bottle. Never even tried. This was my wife's memorial, not a business. But Patricia didn't care. You have 2 weeks, she said, or we'll do it for you. I could almost hear her smile over the phone, like she was crushing a bug beneath her designer heel. But see, I didn't spend 20 years in the military learning how to quit. Threats don't work on people who've dodged mortars. I started thinking, combat engineer thinking. Every fortress has a weakness. I dug out my paperwork, the deed, the old survey maps, the boring stuff nobody reads unless they're paranoid or have lost everything. And there it was, a jagged line, a mistake from 1968 that meant my property boundary didn't match the fence line. So I called the county clerk, asked for every survey on record. The lady on the phone sounded bored, like, "Sir, this is going to take days." Fine by me. Patricia kept driving past, circling, looking for cracks in my armor. Thursday rolls around. Emergency board meeting at the community center. Patricia called it an agricultural blight. She'd turned the whole place into her personal courtroom. Projector, photos of my vineyard. Beautiful, really, but she made them look like evidence of a crime. This is a cancer in our community, she told the crowd. This man is breaking the rules, bringing pests, lowering our property values. Benji Miller, the new treasurer, kid looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. Asks, isn't this just gardening? My grandma grows tomatoes. Patricia turned on him so fast, I thought his hair would catch fire. Scale and intent, Benji. This is different. They voted 4-1. Only Benji had my back. As I left, Benji slipped me a note. Call me, he whispered. There are numbers in the books that don't add up. But first, I had some digging to do. Next day, I'm buried in maps and legal descriptions, breathing in the musty air of the county archives. The 1968 survey, the smoking gun, shows a utility easement running straight through what the HOA claimed as their common area. Not just that, the community center, pool deck, storage shed, even a chunk of parking, they were sitting on my land. I'm no lawyer, so I call Audrey Lou, Benji's cousin, sharp as a tack, hates HOAs more than I do. When she saw the documents, she laughed. Real, loud, terrifying. Elias, this is trespass. Unjust enrichment. Gross negligence. They've been operating on your property for 30 years. We can burn them to the ground. But I wanted more than a payout. I wanted Patricia to hang herself, figuratively, of course. So I waited. And Patricia, thinking I'd rolled over, doubled down. Find me for everything. Sprinklers, hoses, mailbox paint. She started circling my place 4 times a day, jotting notes. But I played my own game. Set up high-def cameras, night vision, directional mics. Caught her trespassing, 2 a.m., snapping photos, spraying my vines with herbicide. All on tape. Meanwhile, Benji calls a meet at a diner 3 towns over. Slides me a stack of invoices. Patricia's husband owns a landscaping company, Green Horizon. Tens of thousands paid for tree trimming, irrigation repair. No bids, no records, just a slush fund. All HOA money funneled right into their pockets. Best part? One of those repairs was on land she didn't even know I owned. Patricia wasn't done. She sent out a special assessment, $3, $500 per household for soil remediation, blaming my vineyard for some made-up environmental disaster. Then she started the whisper campaign, telling neighbors I was unstable, a dangerous vet with PTSD, probably stockpiling chemicals. People stopped waving, crossed the street to avoid me. It hurt, yeah? Reminded me of war zones where the enemy doesn't wear a uniform, just smiles. But she got greedy. Scheduled the demolition for Tuesday, hired a private contractor, wanted to live stream the destruction for all to see, make an example out of me. I told Audrey to have the legal papers ready, but don't serve them yet. She thought I was nuts. We can stop this now, she said. But I wanted Patricia to break ground. Commit a felony on camera. I wanted everyone to see the truth. Night before the big day, my cameras caught Patricia sneaking into the vineyard, spraying herbicide, poisoning the front rows. She even filed a police report that morning, claiming I threatened her. Classic move, right? But I called Deputy Higgins. Just show up tomorrow. Bring cuffs. Tuesday dawns, diesel engines roaring, neighborhood kids watching wide-eyed from their porches. Patricia, in her white suit, streaming live. Finally cleaning up our community, she crows. This is what happens when you don't follow the rules. I ran out in my bathrobe, played the desperate widower, begged for 1 more week. She sneered, Mike, tear it down. And he did. Bucket hit the soil, vines snapped, purple juice everywhere like blood on the pavement. Mrs. Gable was crying. Benji filmed on his phone. Patricia was beaming, until the squad car lights flashed. Higgins stepped out, big as a barn, looked at me, and I handed him a manila envelope fat with documents. He scanned them, then looked up at the community center, looming like a castle built on sand. That's when he asked Patricia, in that calm, quiet way, who gave her permission to build on my land. The silence was absolute. Patricia tried to stammer something. That's common area, always has been. Higgins shook his head. According to the county, the tax assessor, in this original deed, you are standing on Mr. Thorne's private property, and you just ordered demolition on it. Audrey stepped out of her car, Valkyrie in a pencil skirt. We're filing for immediate injunctive relief and damages for 30 years of illegal use. Benji, shaking but steady, said, Sheriff, I have records showing Mrs. Vance funneled HOA money to her husband's company. The dozer operator, realizing he'd been played, hopped out. Wait, she said there was a court order. I got the texts. She offered me cash under the table. Patricia's face collapsed in on itself. She started shouting, "You can't do this. I am this community." Higgins spun her around, cuffed her. "You're under arrest for criminal mischief, trespassing, and fraud." As they loaded her into the cruiser, I leaned into the phone she'd left streaming on her hood, 150 people watching. Next time you want to destroy a man's memory, check the deed. The fallout was legendary. Patricia faced felony charges, lost everything. The HOA crumbled, Benji took over. The lawsuit settled for $250,000 and a 99-year easement. I rebuilt the vineyard, made it bigger. Named the first vintage Justice Reserve. And the best part? Turned the land into a community garden. Mrs. Gable grows her tomatoes there now. The Miller kid tends pumpkins. Sarah would have loved it. Funny thing, she used to say the best wine comes from vines that struggle. Roots digging deep, fighting for every drop. Maybe that's true for people, too. Some days, I stand at the edge of those rows, glass in hand, and wonder, where's the line between justice and revenge? Did I drag it out too long, just to see her fall, or was it the only way to break the spell she'd cast over all of us? So what do you think? Where does justice end and revenge begin? Ever had to fight for what's right when everyone else just played along? Drop your thoughts below. Share your stories, your lines in the sand. And hey, check your deeds, folks. You never know what you might find buried under your own backyard.